So, welcome. We are Improv Inc., supporting teams and individuals to connect, collaborate, and thrive using applied improvisation. And this is the Improv Breakfast, Improv Inc.'s weekly online meetup where we discuss the theme of this week's newsletter. I'm Vic.
And I'm Paul.
And this
And
week
this week,
we
Vic.
discuss, we discuss shy speakers and how how they cope, what they need, and an easy trick to help them to get across well to their audiences. And so we've just let Rod into the room. Good day, Rod. Welcome in. If you would like in this moment, both of you, I'm just going to pop you on mute. And if you could put in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how shy you feel and in what circumstances, because some people can feel very comfortable standing on stage and then hate an intimate little dinner party, for instance. So throw into the chat how you feel about shyness, whether that's you or not, and when that arises. Paul, are you a shy person?
I can be, yeah, if you want me to be.
So,
Well, I can be.
so
And sometimes networking I find
mm,
tricky. Um, Finding the opening few words to break the ice, as it were. Oh, hello, who are you? What do you do? That sort of thing. Um, yeah.
yeah, I'm just going to put into the chat myself. I'm about, I'm kind of a zero in most circumstances. And usually that's when I'm helping other people to connect or just making a party go better or making a room feel comfortable in its own skin,
Mm.
a group of people. That's when I absolutely come into my own, not shy for a second. But I think it's when it's personal that's when it can become a little bit eggy. And
Also,
like you say,
oh, can you give an example?
of um, I think it's 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 when one is trying to sell yourself, and you talked about networking, and I think it's that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So shy people. Heidi's saying presentations a 2 and networking an 8. Yeah, and I'm also going to put in networking because that's exactly how interesting. And so, what's the difference? Let's just unpack that. Heidi, feel free to unmute and say what comes to your mind when you're thinking about the difference between presentation and networking.
I think I really need to read a person, and I can do that much better when I network because I'm like face to face with either one person or a small group, and then I find it easier. When I'm in a bigger group,
Mm.
then I find it quite hard to read everyone, and then I get really self-conscious, I think.
Amazing. So presentations, a sea of people, fine. One-to-ones, a little intimate group, fine. But that kind of interesting moment when there's just enough people to make you feel self-conscious. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when we're touching on something here, when you're on stage and you're presenting, you know your content, right? And generally you're on stage because you're invited, you're expected to be there, and the room is there to listen to you, and they're expecting to hear you. And so you can drop into your zone, into your element through your knowledge on your subject. And with that, you're delivering it sometimes from a place of passion as well. And so the shyness just drifts away because that's what you do. You're doing what you do. But when you're in that other situation of two or three people that you might not know, then you kind of feel like maybe there's a bit more of a lens on you, a bit more of a judgment. Or am I going to sound interesting? Am I going to sound appealing? Am I going to sound attractive to them, or not?
And
And so
I
you
think you're
become a bit
touching,
more reticent, Yeah.
yeah, indeed. You are, for me, you're touching on the difference between script and improv and how that necessity of being agile off the cuff is really important. Odd,
Mm.
welcome, welcome. On a scale of 1 to 10, how shy are you and in what circumstances? We have just been discussing how presentations
Yeah,
pretty much fine,
I've
but that
heard rather than
networking is the, yeah.
it's a journey probably for me. So I had 0 at one point. Yeah, and I think that's being neurodivergent. Yeah, that of not not being able. It was a cognitive overload to deal with people who I didn't know because I was absorbing so much information before, and then trying to find like what I should do, if that makes sense. Trying to,
Yeah,
and then I can't do small talk because it brought like I'm not good at it, and I'm not interested. I mean that's worse. So it's fraudulent for me to do small talk. Yeah, and there's nothing worse for me than somebody who the barber's chair, the hairdresser. You know, the
yeah,
barber's
yeah, yeah.
chair. I
We
say,
sometimes, when we're doing
what is
improv,
this? You don't, like, you're not, you're asking questions and you're not interested in the answer, but there's something going on. I do not understand. It's on another planet. I don't
yeah,
understand it. Yeah.
we when we're doing improv to entertain, when we're rehearsing, if we're doing a scene, and it's going nowhere, it's because it's just small talk, and we will quite often interrupt it from the wings. Get on with it, or just cut it. This is going nowhere,
Yeah.
because you're just drifting in this small talk of nothingness.
Love that. And finding what matters is really important. I mean, I love that Rod has essentially said that he's too clever and too transactional to care about that sort of. And I agree. Do you know what? I love
And
that.
that transactional blows people out the water sometimes because you have to learn how to take it slowly and do it in steps and get in rapport with people. And there's a whole set of skills. I've known. It's probably why I went into sales, because I couldn't have done something more difficult for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Like,
Heidi, have you ever been in sales or any of that kind of, that more pushy area where you really have to kind of grab people and make them listen to you?
No, I haven't been in sales. I guess I do give a lot of presentations, and I think, sometimes people just agree, and I do find that difficult to deal with if people disagree, because I think I'm slightly slow in processing. So unless, and I find it tricky just to find like a coherent answer in the moment if people don't agree with me.
Well, I love that. So just to be clear, you're not conflict averse. You don't mind people disagreeing with you.
No,
It's just that
no.
you want to find the right path through.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, maybe this is going to be an interesting little exercise for you in that case. The part-time lover is the activity that we will be trying out today. And couldn't help but name it after a classic Stevie Wonder song. But that aside, it gives a really clear view on how to deliver the lover archetype. Now, you may remember, I think you've both done talk tactics with us, and we would probably have dug into the four-quartered quadrant that is SWOLK, sealed with a loving kiss, meaning sage, warrior, lover, and kidder. Those are the four different things. Paul, do you want to whiz through what those mean?
Yes. So sage is where you are displaying or coming out with a tonality of knowledge. Basically, you know your subject very well. The warrior is where you lift your voice up a bit, and it's like a rallying call, a call to arms, a call to action. You're trying to get the troops, if you like, uplifted, change the energy in the room. Lover is more empathy and sort of digging into showing the audience that they feel listened to, that they're heard, that they're seen, that you understand them, that you know that where they're coming from. And then kidder, of course, is just is adding that bit of humour, bringing that jester, bringing that lightheartedness back into the room. Very powerful when you just want to snap people out of some kind of state.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a great summary. So we've got some clarity there on what those four different things mean. However, we're only going to work with one today. We're going to work with the lover because Paul and I have discovered that it can be really quite a reach for shy people to step into warrior or into kidder. Now, sage is fine because that's just imparting your knowledge. And you're pretty much likely to know what you're talking about. And so you're pretty comfortable with it. You might go into a monotone. You might get stuck in the minutiae of the information, but that's a different story, right? So warrior and kidder being very difficult for shy people, we're left with lover, which is actually sounds like it should be super risky, but is so much predicated on empathy and just getting in touch with your audience, connecting with them on a very real and very kind of vulnerable level, which can actually be really effective for shy people because maybe that's actually where they start. So leaning into that, we're going to do this activity, part-time lover. I'll explain it, and then we've got time for both of you to have a go at it. So whoever goes first is going to pick a topic, just something really standard. We can pick one for you if you like, if you want to be surprised, or you can choose it yourself. It will be how you might put on a wash and hang out the washing in your house. It might be the route to the shops and back again if you were just to go on a Saturday shop in your local area. Your local bus service, prosaic as you like. Here's the thing, you're kind of hoping to sell it to us. So pick something that you think is something that you really, believe in. The way you do the weekly wash is something that you can stand by, and you are trying to persuade us as to how to do that. And you get to toggle. After 15 seconds of speaking in a neutral voice, you're then going to go into lover voice. Now, I want us just to have a quick conversation about what that might mean. What identifies a lover? And of course, we're using the term loosely here, but how might that appear?
Caring.
Sorry?
Caring.
Caring. I love that. I'm going to put these into the chat. Keep
Or
them
do you
coming.
want us to put it in the chat?
What else? What else?
What's coming into your mind, Rod?
Two things. One, I'd say compassion, because I think that for me is even more powerful than empathy. But there's a second thing which doesn't do with talk. It's somebody went through, which is to do, how do people say I love you? And for some people, it's doing things. Like if your mum did the cooking for you and the washing, and that was saying I love you without actually using any words. And if you came home and things weren't right, they'd put on the can of Heinz tomato soup or whatever it might be and sit you down, and that would be
Awesome. I love that. Okay, I've put a few things into the chat. I agree with you, Rod. It really depends on, where you're coming from. But let's assume that you're in persuasive mode, but without a kind of an unpleasant agenda, right? You're just there to just because you care. And I love that. Heidi put that in the chat. Caring, tenderness, softness. Beautiful. All right. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Go on.
Well done,
Give
Rod.
me a topic, make it harder for me.
Okay, we'll give you a topic. I love that. Heidi was looking away so carefully in that moment. Heidi, you were like this, like, yeah, I could go first, but I'm not going to. Yeah, it's right. All right. So, do we have a topic? Anybody want to shout out a topic for Rod? I think it's how to well, do you drive? Do you have a car? Okay, let's do that. It's how to buy a car. Okay. So every 15 seconds or so, I'm going to do this, and I want you to change either from lover to neutral or neutral to lover, whichever you're in. I want you to really lean into the other. Okay, got it? Awesome.
How long we got? How long's Rod got?
He's got a minute and a half maximum. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna put you on. I'm going to spotlight you, Rod. Doing it. Okay, off you go.
I might not be the best person to ask about how you buy a car because I leave buying a car for as long as possible. I sort of feel that if you've got a motor that's not costing you too much every year, every time you go in to service it, and you're not coming with a big bill, just get another year out of it. And why would why put off the idea of buying a car? It's partly I think the most environmentally best thing to do. So being a transport person and having to looked into this stuff, I've learned that if you don't do too many miles in a year, that the economics, the embedded carbon that goes into a new vehicle actually doesn't make it worth changing often if what you're worried about is your environmental footprint. And actually owning a car makes you feel a bit guilty. And looking
Okay. We've come to time.
Good.
Incredible. Can we give Rod a big round of Zoom applause? Fantastic work. Yes, well done, well done. Rod, how did that feel?
Like flipping sides of my brain.
It kind of came across like that, I have to say. It was really interesting. Which did you find harder?
The transition rather than the flow. Once I got into one, I was okay.
Were you conscious of Vic's instructions from the?
Very.
Yeah.
And that was what was doing my brain actually.
I could see that.
I was going, oh.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Which I don't mind that in a sense in something like this.
Did you, when you saw the instruction from Vic, did you in your mind, are you thinking, right, I need to change the angle of what I'm saying a little bit? Did this occur to you?
A lot more than that, probably. Content, pace, structure. It's a very different. It's how I'd write something, which is explanatory.
Would you like feedback from anybody in the room?
Yeah, go on.
It's up to you. I'm asking you if you would like that. I don't want to put you in a
No,
position
no,
where we're
I'm here. That's what I'm here for. Okay.
I noticed something. There were moments when you started to lean into um, what it's like from the perspective of a person. You started leaning into the environment and the issues there. And to me, that is starting to strike an emotive tone. And if you just went a little bit deeper in that direction and made it more personal, then let's imagine that you've got a room of people who really care about the environment and the climate, then you are starting to make them feel heard because you're leaning into something that means something to them. And you started to go in that direction a little bit. And I was thinking, oh, is it going to go deeper? Yeah, go a little bit deeper. Make it about me and what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and then I was.
you got me twiddling at you again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So you're on the
I'm sorry.
cusp, I guess, is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
So I'd know how to do that pitch if you were
I
to
mean,
Indeed.
a warrior
to
might have been
people,
going,
and then I had to go out of it to.
buy the car for speed, buy it for the go faster stripes, all of this sort of stuff.
Amazing, amazing. So I'm going to give you a couple of pointers myself, Rod, and then we're going to see if Heidi has anything to say. But if you have any feedback or thoughts, Rod, stick them in the chat because I want to make sure we've got enough time for Heidi to run this as well. I noticed, and I loved Paul's comments about what was actually coming out, the actual content. I noticed with body language that because of my exasperating twiddles, it kind of made this disconnect happen. Whereas if you had just leaned in and really grabbed hold of us with your eyes, that would have been a very seductive move and that would have felt very nice. Heidi, any last thoughts before we move on to you?
I just thought it was really good. I was really impressed because you could really see the difference between the two states, or the two roles, and I was that was really good. It was really obvious.
Gorgeous. And that's the thing. This space is exactly for that training, that practice, doing the reps and really exaggerating stuff. So it might feel ridiculous in one's body, but when you go to the very limit of what you think is outlandish, that's when it starts to really sit in your body in a way that you can call upon at any given moment. Awesome. Congratulations again, Rod. Brilliant. So let's check in with Heidi and make sure that you get your full 90 seconds. Would you like to pick a theme or would you like us to?
Yeah, can you pick one, please?
Yeah. Okay. The it is when you're bargaining when you're abroad. Does that feel like a nice thing to do? When you're kind of just on in holiday mode. Is that something you're happy to seduce us about? You have a certain technique. Do you ever do that?
I don't like it very much.
You don't like to do it
before.
All right, that sounds like it's a double whammy of stress. Brilliant, well done, me. I've picked the worst thing possible. I'm going to spotlight you, and you have 90 seconds, and you're going to start neutral, and then when I twiddle, you'll go into lover, twiddle again, go back to neutral, exaggerate it as much as you like. Let's go. Good luck.
So I'm interested in buying this blanket from you. I think it is a little bit overpriced.
Heidi, yeah. I'm going to stop you there. I was not clear enough in my instruction.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be. No, it's my fault. It's my fault. So I'm going to just reset you to say that you are explaining to us how to do it. It's like you come back after the holiday and you're saying this is the way to do it. Okay, off you go.
Okay, fine. Okay. So I would first of all look at the items. I wouldn't appear too interested in the item, just looking through, and then if it's coming, and then I think it would be really nice if you would use some humor and smile and be very complimentary of the item that you're looking at, and give the seller a smile. And then you would go forth and back. They will come back with an offer of the item, and then I would be very firm with a counter offer. And this might, and then you could discuss with the seller how you would like, you could point out maybe some mistakes, or the color might not be quite right, and that could help you to reduce the price a little bit to more.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. A round of applause for Heidi. How did that feel?
Oh, that was quite stressful. Just swapping the different states, or the different foci. to which role you're in. Especially as I don't really like this sort of activity very much.
Well, you came across fantastically. I mean, just like Rod, you just slipped into it so naturally, and it was really impressive. I noticed that as soon as you went into lover mode, the persuasion mode, you softened, you suddenly smiled, your shoulders went down, you just kind of became very sweet, and it was really natural but very compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and your words changed as well. You were using different words when you were into that archetype.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. You talked about being firm when it was a neutral, and then you talked about being firm, but in sort of the third person, about you being firm. But then when you got into the lover mode, you were speaking directly to us saying, you could discuss it. You could discuss it, And so that was a really interesting difference in language, as Paul says.
There's something I noticed as well. When you went into lover mode or shy mode, you weren't backing down. In fact, you were being almost firmer with your instructions. When you were saying, point out the faults in the item, the color, the design. So you're leaning into the lover, but you're actually being firm with your vocabulary, rather than being like retreating and defensive or conceding. You were going the other way.
Yes. Yes, I love that. And just going to show that shyness doesn't mean that you're a pushover, and that the lover doesn't mean that you're not determined, that you still have a backbone. Beautiful.
Yeah,
and
love that.
Would you like any feedback if we have any tips on how to lean into that more?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Sorry, Rod, you were just about to say something.
I'll explain what you did with your voice. It's interesting that when you're in neutral, your voice was coming from up here,
Right.
and it was going off the top of your mouth. Yeah.
Right.
When you went into lover mode, you actually centered it really low and aspirated.
Right.
So your physicality through your voice was changing completely.
Right.
If you,
That's really interesting.
if you've spent long enough on a telephone, you can read people, like what they're doing with their voices and you can see what's happening in front of you.
Right.
People don't get the chance to do that now, but
no. Oh, thank you. That's really
Beautiful.
interesting to know.
Vic.
Yeah, that's a lovely, expert way of putting it, Rod. Really nice observation. Thank you. I just thought it was lovely. I think that, Heidi, you have a fantastic sense of humor, and that without going into kidder mode where you're kind of like, you can with lover also just laugh along, encourage people. You're kind of beckoning with your voice, as we observed. And so, yeah, just leaning into your beautiful wit is something that you can enjoy even more, I'd say. Paul, how about you?
Yeah, well, I'll build on what you said there. The first time you went into lover, you actually began with a smile, and you said the word smile as well. And it kind of like instantly changed our attitude to how we might listen to you. And as you sort of brought us into this sort of new archetype. Yeah, that was accentuated very well.
Lovely. Rod, any last thoughts? And then Heidi, and then we have to wrap up.
I think it's an interesting thing to explore between both your thoughts and your body, and how the two are going together with each archetype.
Wonderful. Thank you. Heidi, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I thought this exercise was really interesting, just to see where we can position ourselves and how we actually can change that just with a little bit of concentration. So, we actually have quite a lot of control over that, of how we are perceived.
Beautiful.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining the Improv Breakfast. We love to have a group photo for social media. Turn off your camera if you don't want to be in it. And I'm just going to take I'm just going to go full screen and take a little photo of us all. Wonderful. Okay. And if you look at your camera, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Nice. And if you know someone who would find this work interesting, please send them our way. You can reach us at hello@improvinc.co.uk, and we'll bring success to all kinds of work using applied improvisation. Paul, what do we discuss next week?
Yeah, next week we're going to discuss through lines. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, this is how to keep your presentations on track with that central theme, bringing all those threads together and keeping that through line running through. the whole presentation, make it relevant, round it off, begin it and round it off. That's through lines. That's next week.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying a bit late today. It was a really lovely, fruitful session, and hopefully see you next week. Take care.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.